and it's getting louder. Of course, they're deciding to do my yard work the minute we start recording today, but we're just going to roll with it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they'll be done in a few minutes.
It'll go fast.
Yes.
So Bobby, today we're going to talk about our seniors, our graduates from high school. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, we talked about what juniors and sophomores could do, over the summer as they get ready for their last years of school. And then now it's like, what do you do with, seniors who are just now graduating? Like right now, it's a flurry of activity. You got prom, you got your finals, you got heavy senioritis and all that. And these are the students who've gone through, the strangest time probably for any high school graduates in many, many years. So they've got to be exhausted at this point.
Isn't that the truth? Yeah, they do. So, which really kind of takes us to the number one thing that we think that they should do this summer, and that's have fun.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you've got all your friends to say goodbye to that you didn't get to spend that much time with. Now, maybe you can do some stuff together with your friends, see some people in person, do all that. In the fall, I imagine that, like most people are going in person, they're going to be living in dorms. It's going to be a little bit back to normal. I think, most people, you got your vaccinations. A lot of colleges are requiring them. So there can be some sense of normalcy, finally this fall. That's what we're hoping for, at least. And so
good. Hopefully things keep going in the direction they're going, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And so, I think, I've had some parents who are like, oh, I want to like have my student do a bunch of stuff this summer. But, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think you should be working like crazy or anything unless you really need to. If you've got a job, do your job, right? Whatever it is you've got, if you've got things that you can do, that's great. But really, I think everybody deserves, a fair amount of time to themselves. There are a few things that they probably should focus on, though, right? Because you're going to be starting college, and it's even in a normal year, apart from this COVID year, it's going to be very different, right? It's different from what high school was like. You don't have your parents, constantly nagging you and telling you what you need to do, right?
Yeah, you've got a ton of freedom, and you don't have somebody from school ushering you into the next room or the next phase, or making you get up, making you go to class. None of that is existent. So how do you handle that?
Man, yeah, I mean, it's not easy. I think, like traditionally a lot of people, you just go and then they do terrible their first semester, right? And because they didn't know about it, and then they go have too much fun, and then they're sleeping through all their classes, and then you can get yourself in bad trouble and have to dig out of that hole the rest of your college career. And so, part of it is just knowing that that's going to happen if you're not careful, right? And then, I'm sure there's, millions of like websites and things that talk about this stuff, but I think, there are some things that particularly that we've talked about a little bit and touched on before that we ought to talk about, which is like, I think if you go off to college, like a lot of people I know, like I went and I changed my major 3 times, right? I didn't know what I wanted to do, right? So I was just taking a kind of the random assortment of classes that seemed normal or whatever. But I think if I had been taking courses I was interested in and knew what I wanted to do, I would have probably been more interested and paid more attention.
Yeah, well, I think that's true. And I do think that there's, setting up some type of structure
Absolutely.
Right, over the summer will kind of help ease these kids into, not only being able to adult while college, but also just to kind of get them in a rhythm of taking care of themselves.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I think structure, like, I think with, there are some parents that I've talked to, where their students, like the students I tutor, they're like, my one kid is like, they come home from school and they immediately do whatever they need to get done, because then they aren't stressed about it. And then they have the rest of the night free. And then they're like, my other kid just comes home from school and immediately starts playing video games or chatting with friends or whatever, and doesn't try to do anything until, midnight, or forgets to do it completely. And so, one of those things is just knowing that when you have no structure, the simplest thing to do is just have some simple goals of what, and know what you need to do that day, and just do that first, right? Get it out of the way, and then the rest of your day can be free, because in college you're going to have a whole lot of free time, but you are going to have a lot of things you need to do as well. And so just thinking about that and practicing it, you could even do that this summer with like whatever things you have, each week say, okay, here are some things that we want to accomplish. Let's get in this habit of whenever you wake up, just do those things, and then you're free. Go have fun, hang out with your friends, whatever, right?
Well, and let's talk about those things.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of kids at this age, high school and college level, working during that time.
Absolutely.
And there are studies that show 15 hours of work actually help kids in college and in high school better manage their time, because they've got, and here's the interesting about the study. There's a 15 hours is what they recommend. So don't go over 20, because actually we see
it's too much.
Other things. It's too much. But with 15 hours a week, they actually just do much better at life. So I think I'm a huge proponent of work this summer. Even though you kind of fun, I think there's new room, and in college as well. So that's one way.
Yeah, I think this is probably the most important thing is if you take some time this summer to say, okay, here are a few things about adulting, right, that need to learn. This is the number one thing, which is like when I was in college, the semesters where I had the heaviest course load, or where I had a job in the admissions office, where I was going and doing that job. When I was doing that, I got higher grades than in my semesters where I had low hours course loads. So the lighter my course load, the worse I did, which seems the opposite, but it is absolutely because if you have lots to do, that forces you to schedule your time. And then you just are in that habit. You're like, I did some work. Okay, let me finish some other work. I'm in that mind frame. That's it.
There's a saying, Bobby, a body in motion stays in motion.
Right? Absolutely.
And it's absolutely true. So some other things that parents can help their students do this summer, I think as well, as far as the adulting, you mentioned giving them at least a few things they need to do each day. As far as goals to get accomplished. And I would say, you know what? I never cared if they got them done in the morning, the afternoon, night. I don't care.
Sure. They can learn their own way. Right.
As long as they get it done and they have a goal for that day, and start that journey of, you've got responsibilities, you
can choose when to do them. Right. So you have the responsibility, just get these things done. The rest of the time, I don't care what you're doing. Just do these things. And then that, even if they are things that like you can just work together and pick out, whatever it is, like just even like fixing things around the house or whatever it is, just things to do, just to have that habit. And then, that's how you learn. Maybe you are a do your work at night kind of person, or do the work, or you need a couple hours to like get awake before you're doing things. Yeah, that totally works. And then also, I know you're going to be doing your courses about figuring out your strengths, right? Which can help students figure out what major they're going to choose. And also knowing your strengths, I think, would help with all of this stuff, right?
Well, I will tell you, the fun part about strengths is you can use those to figure out how you study best. You can use those to figure out how to get along with a roommate that you may have never met before. Now you're going to be with them 24/7.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Absolutely. You can use it to figure out the types of activities that you're going to like in a job the most, so that you can help figure out a career path. So I've got that class coming up. I've got 3 starting in June.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. I mean, I think that's it. And I think also, like, I know on your website, you publish like, little articles about things like this. Like you had mentioned an article to me that has like all these just basic things that students get to college and realize they don't know how to do. And then they're just lost. Like they're like, there's a laundry room with a coin-operated laundry machine, or after the car. Yeah, how do I deal with this, right?
Bobby, I remember walking in freshman year to do my laundry, and I set my stuff down. And back then, you had to use quarters. You didn't have a swipe. Yeah. And I looked around. I was like, "Where is the laundry detergent?" And you had to buy it. And I was like, "You have to buy laundry detergent?" It's those silly things that we don't realize that kids just don't get, right? But I do have a list, and what I'll do is after this, I'll post it in the Facebook feed. Yeah, and it's just adulting things that kids should know how to do before they go off to college.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've seen, on like this been like shared a lot lately. Like this has actually gotten really popular with kids. Is like, hey, like kids today are actually interested in this. They're like, okay, wait, I want to know how to tie a tie. I want to know how to like wash my clothes. I want to know how to go to the bank and do these things. Okay. Oh, look, I see we've got a comment from Carolyn.
Yeah. So they both been canceled. The summer she has won. So this talks about her daughter,
Mm-hmm.
and that some of the church internships have been canceled. And it says this summer she wants to try and have some fun. Yeah, her
Right.
life's hard. She'll take 2 high school classes to get them done, PE and speech. Well, this hurt her that she won't have AP classes not offered, won't have a job, no summer job or internship.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, I mean, the last thing you asked is definitely something I can answer, which is colleges care about strength of schedule as well as your GPA, right? And so they look at your GPA, they recalculate it based on that college's calculations, but the strength of schedule is based on, did you take the most challenging coursework that your high school offers, right? So if you're at a high school that does not offer AP classes, then the colleges you apply to will know that and will not count that against you at all. They want to see that you did things that were challenging for you. So yeah, and so as you finish the sophomore year, like the key is to do the best you can GPA wise, right? While taking the course load that is as challenging as you can handle and still get a good GPA, and taking advantage of whatever course load that the high school offers. But don't worry about things that the high school doesn't offer. You will not be penalized for that. And you also can so you also need to, in addition to that, be active in one or two things, right? That can be working, that can be going to church and being active in a church group, that can be activities in school. So anything that you do that has a time commitment to it, any organization, it doesn't have to be school related. One or two of those is all you need along with your activity.
I'm
Yeah,
going to
along with GPA.
Yeah, I'm going to add a little bit to that, Bobby, so
Yeah.
that the communication is clear on that. What
Yeah.
I'm hearing from college admissions people as of late is they're really interested in that kid that has something that they've have a deep knowledge of or a deep
Right.
interest in that they've done over time. So, like Bobby said, it doesn't have to be school related. The comments that I hear now, keep in mind, I'm definitely not a college admissions expert, but I talk to a lot of these folks, is that they see so many quote unquote, well-rounded kids, meaning they were in every activity, they did all the volunteering, they did all this, doing that it's just not special anymore. So yeah, finding a kid that got deep into one activity, they're really interested in that. So Carolyn, I think, if you can find something that your daughter has interest in or has already, gotten involved in, that would be great. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And looking here, I mean, it says if you're an officer on student council, you're involved in church, you're done. Stay active in those two things all the way through high school. That is absolutely, that sounds like she's got a killer GPA. Don't worry about AP classes, but dual credit, the fact that she's looking at that, that's a great way to, like you say, if a college says, oh, this high school didn't offer AP classes, so the student took a couple of dual credit college level classes. You're both preparing yourself for the rigors of college curriculum, and you are making the course load more challenging because it wasn't offered there at high school. This is exactly what a student should be doing. And it sounds like she's exactly on track. And then of course, part of it too is when you write your essays for college, they're going to ask, the questions are on there, which is like, describe the challenges you've overcome, describe what you are like as a person. And this is going to be a perfect situation to really show how amazing these accomplishments are, given the challenges that she's gone through. This sounds like you are doing everything right. You're thinking about all the correct things. And also, I know that both Kristen and I, you can contact us on our website. Feel free to go to my website, bobbyhoodonlinetutoring.com, and shoot me fill out the contact form. I'd be happy to answer questions for you anytime. And anyone who has questions, just always happy to answer questions. And I know Kristen is as well. So I really appreciate you asking this question, but I think you're doing great. Great job here.
Yeah. So again, we got to wrap up.
Oh, yeah.
And if you've got more questions, please reach out. Yeah. So the 3 things that we're suggesting kids do is have fun.
Yep.
Learn how to adult and figure out how to put some structure in your life, because you will need this skill, and to really learn more about yourself through the Clifton Strengths. I know we didn't go into that a lot, but having that opportunity to figure out your major and, kind of get prepared for next year would be hugely important.
Absolutely. I mean, putting some structure in your day over the summer, take a class from Christian. Absolutely. That's a great way to figure out your strengths, figure out the college majors, and you have some structure of, taking this little short class. That's it. All right. Well, this is wonderful. Great to get to talk to you.
See you next week.
Absolutely. Bye-bye.